Hello, pregame.tv. Brady Kannon here talking about handicapping golf. Well, football season has come to a close, and of course we'll be back again to do that next fall. But in the meantime, we're going to talk a lot of golf, and that's really where a lot of my background comes from. I've been in the golf business in Las Vegas for 20 years now. My Twitter handle is @LasVegasGolfer, and what we do here in town is make tee times for people looking to play golf in Las Vegas, people that are visiting town. You can find us there at lvteatimes.com. And I have spent a lot of time following golf, not only arranging tee times for people, but being a fan of the game as well, and paying attention to, the players and the courses, and over the course of 20 years, soaking up a lot of that information and really becoming a pretty decent handicapper at golf, and had a great year last year, and off to a decent start this year. We've had a couple of nice picks on the free pick videos, but I wanted to give a little insight on handicapping golf in general, because a lot of people like the game quite a bit and enjoy watching it, especially the majors and when Tiger's on TV and Rory and Phil and that type of thing. But handicapping it is really something that's relatively new, I think, to the gaming public out there, if you will, or the sports betting public, I should say. There's not a lot of people around that are into handicapping golf, and I think it's quite fun, especially, again, if you like to watch the action on TV. I pretty much take an approach of horses for courses, and if you've played the game of golf, if you've played basketball on your home floor, the rim seems to look better. You seem to make more shots. There are venues almost in any sport, a baseball field that you're more comfortable with. It's the same with golf. If you get to a course where you are more comfortable with how it sets up and how it fits your eye, you'll hear a lot of PGA Tour players talk about that this course suits my eye, and I'm certainly familiar with that. There's some golf holes you get up on, and you just really feel uncomfortable, and others, it fits the shape of your ball, and it just feels comfortable on how your game is suited. And that's, if you look at Phil Mickelson, he's almost an automatic to take at the Masters. He's got an incredible amount of top 10s there, top 10 finishes in the last 20 years. Not only is it a major that he certainly gets up for and prepares maybe twice as much as he does a normal event, but it's a course that also suits his eye. Tiger Woods, you look at the courses he's won on in his career and the courses that he has not won on, it's almost staggering. He wins on basically a handful of courses and nowhere else. He wins at Bay Hill. He wins at Doral. He wins at the Memorial. He wins at St. Andrews. He wins at Torrey Pines. And there's a couple of others, but outside of those courses, he has not won at a whole lot of other venues around the world. So again, it goes back into taking the setup, what best fits that golfer and the strengths of their game. And that's what you have to know, what courses are going to favor which styles of play. Now, for instance, you take a look at Hilton Head, the tournament they play right after the Masters every year, and then also the Colonial in Texas. These two courses are more work-the-ball courses and hit greens and make putts, whereas you take a course like Pebble Beach or Houston or even Augusta, where it takes a little bit of everything, but those courses are going to favor the big bombers more so. Doral, those courses are going to favor guys that can hit the ball a ton, versus, like I say, Hilton Head and the Colonial are going to favor players that are a little bit more finesse, if you will, or a little bit more working the ball from left to right, right to left, okay, maneuvering their golf ball rather than just hitting it as far as they can, chipping onto the green, making a putt, that type of thing. And not that those players are more skilled or anything. To win on tour, you have to be able to work the ball, you have to be able to hit it far, you have to be able to do everything. But again, it's horses for courses. Which guys are the horses for the particular courses? And I think that goes a lot into how you can handicap golf. There are stats And the stats that the PGA Tour website lists are incredible, and it seems like they're breaking it down further and further every year. One of the most telling stats of who wins on tour, if not the most, and I don't know if it's year in and year out, but I know it has been number one in the past, is greens in regulation. And you think about your own golf game. If you're hitting a green in regulation, and that means you're hitting a par 4 and 2, you're hitting a par 5 and 3, you're hitting a par 3 in one shot, and then you're taking your 2 putts to make your par. If you're hitting greens in regulation, you're going to have a lot of success. You're going to give yourself a lot of opportunities for birdies. Putting, of course, is always big. Putting, drive for show, putt for dough. Driving distance, okay? You look at some of the courses where it's going to favor a bomber, like Doral, like Bay Hill, like Pebble Beach. You look at guys that it can really hit it a long ways. And then you look at driving accuracy. If you're handicapping the U.S. Open, they always set it up for tight fairways, and you're going to want a guy that keeps the ball in the fairway, like a Fred Funk or a Graham McDowell or a Jim Furyk. And you look at how they do in U.S. Opens. They do well. So again, it has a lot to do with course characteristics, and you can go find the stats on which guys are best in those statistics. Scrambling, Augusta National is always notorious for a guy that's good in scrambling because the course has so many nuances. You have to be so good in so many different aspects of your game. Scrambling, what that is getting up and down from around the green. And we've all seen the greens at Augusta, how they fall off and they're shaved and they have the undulation. So creativity and scrambling around the greens is paramount at a course like that. You take another course like a U.S. Open venue, and again, it's going to be all about hitting fairways and hitting greens and probably less emphasis on scrambling. Putting's always going to be paramount. Sand saves. Sand saves you can make an argument for at the British Open. You've got a lot of sand going on over there. A lot of scrambling is going to come into effect. And also in the British Open, you can take players that are better in the wind. Okay? A lot of times Australian players are great in the wind because they've grown up in Australia, obviously, where you have a lot of wind, and you have to learn how to flight your ball and keep it down below the wind. And that's very prevalent overseas for the British Open. Weather players, the Scotsmen and the British, when it's muddy, when it's wet, when it's damp, that's not going to necessarily bode well for a guy that was born and raised in Scottsdale, Arizona, like Billy Mayfair, that's playing desert golf all his life. So horses for courses, and you have to find the venue week in and week out, understand what is going to be most important at that venue, look at who does well at what characteristics that venue presents, and there you go. And then a lot of it, as you know, with any handicapping, is luck. But I think that's a good starting point for handicapping golf, rather, is knowing your venues and then knowing your horses for your courses. Handicapping golf. We'll be here doing it every week and back around come this fall for some more football. But it's all PGA Tour between now and then. We talked a little AT&T Championship at Pebble Beach, and we'll be back to do it again next week with the LA Open. And any more thoughts on handicapping golf, you can always check us out on the pregame.com forum, as we're up there each and every week as well. Talk to you soon. Pregame.tv.